Hi, this is Andrea Gin, and I'm the producer and one of the hosts of Pop This. We are currently taking a short 2-week holiday break, and as is our custom, are pulling up an old favorite to tide you over until we get back. Now, this feels like a Christmas film, but really it's an all-year-round film that only feels that way because it's such a cozy movie to watch in winter. What I'm saying is that it's perfectly okay to celebrate this movie in January. In any case, we decided to resurface it because it's the 30th anniversary of the 1994 version of Little Women, starring Winona Ryder, Kirsten Dunst, Claire Danes, and Susan Sarandon, which, if you listen to this episode, is Lisa's favorite version of the story. I, on the other hand, think that the 1949 version, starring June Allison, Elizabeth Taylor, and Janet Leigh, is the ultimate and best version of the story. And I'm sure many people out there love Greta Gerwig's adaptation the best. If you have an opinion, let us know. I hope you enjoy it, and we're going to be back next week with a brand new episode. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Pop This, the podcast where two women talk about everything pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen and Andrea Warner.
I don't know if this annoys you as much as me, but when men feel the need to tell you how they like women based on the fact that they have daughters.
Yeah. Another one that I have actually, someone literally said this to me recently, and it's not good, but they were like talking about a musician. They were like, yeah, I really like her. And I was like, yeah, she's got a great voice. And he's like, yeah, but it's more than that. She's like, sort of like, she's like that sexy girl next door. And I was like, that is gross. Stop it. You are an old man talking about a young woman, and you want the sexy girl next. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack your. No. I'm just like things that are gross that dudes say to us all the time.
Yes.
Gross.
That's
stop it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
That was it. And I was just really, I'll just come out and say it was Adam Levine. I think a lot of people.
Wait, Adam Levine, noted respecter of women.
Yes.
Who does not at all have any weird, like, only models go float my.
You know, I tried not, and I think we all do. I mean, I think that we all, you have to try as a woman to understand that Victoria's Secret models are people too. But when you break up with one and then date another, one right after the other, it feels weird to me. Am I wrong?
Well, like the dudes that are, like that modelizer thing. Do you remember, what was that show?
Entourage?
No, well, not just the Entourage, but...
and then all of a sudden I name off a million really terrible shows.
Terrible shows that are just about reinforcing the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Without any interest in dismantling it. Cool. Yeah, I would, like, just... Like, it's not that I don't... Like, again, I'm not going to come for the women.
No, that's my problem. I don't
care.
want to. And I know Adam's daughters will grow up.
I will say, though, the recent thing that I will come for women about is all of the models who are fine with Victoria's Secret dudes saying that you're never going to see a transgender woman on his catwalk because it's about real women. Screw that guy. And screw all the models that are cool with that. Because you're complicit in a lot of other hate at that point, not just you having a job.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but I have to say... There was quite a lot of discussion after that recent Christmas Victoria's Secret show.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, and I engaged in a little bit of it until finally one story that really capped it all off for me, which was this. The Victoria's Secret show is so boring. I can't even talk about it.
Did you guys hear that Victoria's Secret is in trouble, like business-wise?
Financially?
Yes.
And I don't know, It's for so long to me, it just seems like so tacky. Like, who are they? Like, why would women want to wear
any of their outfits?
Any of their stuff?
But I go in there and I find they're really helpful. They're really like I've been in.
Staff might be
Someone
very
had
helpful.
told me to go in because the staff were really great.
Sure.
And they were super measured and brought all these bras in that were great. They did a great. Honestly, it was a really good experience. I did not, and I felt bad for them. I felt like saying, "I'm sorry that you have to deal with this," which I'm pointing in the air because they have a constant videos of those catwalk shows.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anyone that looked like that there. Not one person.
Yeah. That's
at all.
Sort of like, yeah.
Well, I just like to think that maybe we're entering a new age of like the non-push-up bra era.
But I don't wear a push-up bra. They have non-push-up. They have lots
It's not
of.
going to be like no more hot.
No,
pink,
I agree, and I
no
wonder
more
if you
lace.
did
like
ask.
That
Yes.
aesthetic is just going to go out of style, and people will wear comfortable
bra.
things.
Yeah, well, and can I just say that's the real secret that you go in there, and there's a lot of just very regular dull bras in there, and I don't know why that is the part that they don't market. Like you go in, and I feel like asking some of the women who are working there, how do you deal with that compared to what you're doing in here? Like
I like to. So I may I have two comments. One. I do enjoy a push-up bra, but that's because my boobs are heavy, and they enjoy some support. So I do enjoy a push-up bra, but that's like besides the point. This is like, this is not about what I enjoy. I just needed to note that I do enjoy a push-up bra. But two, I love the idea, and this is like the vindictive, like any woman. A fat woman has many sides to her. And the vindictive part of me that is loving this idea of straight-sized companies going out of business because they refuse to disrupt their model and cater to anything above a size 12 is beautiful. Beautiful.
No, I
love it.
Completely agree with you.
I don't want people to lose their jobs.
No,
I
I don't.
it.
But I mean, it is a shame to not take an opportunity to go, wow, this is really not what is going on anymore.
Yeah.
This is my dream for Victoria's Secret. The marketplace forces them to realize that plain cotton, comfortable underwear is in demand and super popular, and that's what they have to pivot to with their marketing plan.
And that plain cotton underwear is it's not causing yeast infections. That's also very important, people.
You can still get lacy bras with the cotton part.
With the cotton,
if
you want the cotton part. But it's good to put like cotton by your lady parts.
See, now if you go in and you get the 3 for 1, then you could have like 2 good ones and 1 impractical. I too like other kinds of lace and odd looking things, but then I like some regular bras for the everyday.
I want to know more about these odd looking things.
What do you mean by odd?
I want just a feather G-string?
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, I like options.
You're like the one person buying those pearl strand underwear that I hear about in like BDSM books.
No, that's
Okay.
I don't even think they're there. I actually have one of my I have like lots of pajamas from there. They just have regular flannel pajamas.
So do you wear a hot pink push-up bra and open flannel pajamas? Like
generally
around
at
your
home,
house?
and I have heels.
That's how you style it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a look.
It's a
look.
great look.
It's also, I mean, you need to like order food with that too, and also have a lot of appliances breaking down.
This all sounds
there
like...
needs to be...
Is this like the beginning of a porn film? Are we writing oh my god, you guys, for Andrea Gin's episode, we're skipping Little Women versus Little Women, and we're gonna just write a porn together? Is this what we're doing?
Yeah.
No, that's not what we're doing. Guys,
Shoot.
I don't get to talk very much. I'm not gonna... I don't have any topics I can come on this podcast about, and Little Women is one of them, and I'm not relinquishing this.
Okay, fair. That's
Yeah.
totally fair. Well, if you haven't figured it out yet, this is Pop This, and I'm Andrea Warner.
Not an underwear company.
No, not an
We do
underwear
have-
company.
Although we
Wait.
could take some sponsorship if you wanted. If your underwear company is comfortable
Yeah.
and has no secrets.
And is like size inclusive.
Yeah. We
Anyway.
will take you. And I'm Lisa Christiansen. And boy, we're just so far away from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please tell us about who you are, special guest.
I'm Andrea Gin. I'm usually the producer of this podcast.
But today you're the guest.
Yeah, I'm usually behind the glass.
So exciting. Props to Joe who's behind the glass today.
I can't see him, but
We'll thank him at the end.
Yeah.
I actually can't see him either, but I think there's a leg. So, oh, look, there's a face. I see.
Okay.
We're
in good hands.
We've set it up so that just the usual producer is with like the substitute producer, like in total eyeline. But I'm still the one wearing the headphones. So if anything goes wrong, he'll be wildly signaling to Andrea Gin.
The rule of the podcast is don't make eye contact with the hosts.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's why we position you guys like that.
Yes.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Yes.
I am so excited for this topic because so I had no skin in the game, as it were. This is Little Women 1949 versus Little Women 1994. And
we didn't quite plan it out that symmetrically, did we?
it just is. It
just
was
so
meant
odd.
to be.
Yeah.
It was just meant to be.
Well,
Well,
the logo for this show is going to be awesome.
I can't wait. Andrea Gin, you were a huge fan of 1949. Lisa, you liked 1994, like to the point where you each have almost memorized each version.
Yeah.
I, going in cold, had
Yeah.
never seen either and have never read the book.
Yeah, I've never read the book, though. I'm sorry. Have you?
Of course I have.
Why? What do you mean, of course?
It's a classic.
Well, there's lots of... Have you read The Wizard of Oz? Have you read Of Mice and Men? They're all classics.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Andrea
I
Gin-
never had a
Andrea
little...
Gin's the most well-read of the classics.
Yeah, well, I've just never, I don't know, the movie came out, so you see it. I didn't think to read it. I just didn't. So do you still think we should read it?
Yeah, of course. I read the book way before I saw the movie. I
Like
read
when
the
you
book
were
as
So
a
why did you
child.
read it? Did you read it on your own, or was it an assignment, or how did you come across it?
I don't quite remember, but it's one of those things where like people give little girls a copy of Little Women
Yeah.
to read, and you just read it.
Well, did you have like Little House on the Prairie? And...
Yeah, I had all the
Yeah,
Little House
okay.
on the Prairies.
Yeah.
Like Anne of Green Gables.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
I think it
That's
is
fair.
classic
Yeah.
sort of like little girl literature that people give kids. I think because I had already just steered so hard into Babysitter's Club and Sweet Valley that they
The
were
other
just,
classics.
The other classics. Yeah.
The new classics.
The new classics. And you umlauts. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I did not have. I've never read Little Women at all.
But
Yeah,
so,
I'm
Lisa,
sorry.
you never came into contact with any kind of Little Woman version until 1994?
Well, no. I mean, I knew of it. I think I just probably, if you had said to me, I think we're moving far away from the term of tomboy, which will be a good thing.
Sure.
But if I had to be described as a kid, it was very much tomboy. It was my obsession with, with Kiss and Star Wars. And if anyone had tried to get me to read Little Women, I'm sure I would have thrown it at their head, to be honest. That would have probably been my reaction. Any sorts of feminine dress or anything that said women.
Because
That was,
feminized things are punishment for weaker people.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's the
That-
internalized sexism of childhood.
that
Yeah.
was not the experience I wanted, and I didn't want anything to do with that realm. Ironically, I realize now, just like Joe, but but how could I know this?
Well, one of the things that I was talking about, I think, with you before we started taping is that, I've known about sort of, the general beats and references of Little Women forever. In the same way that I consume a lot of pop culture just by osmosis and, reference points. And people always were like, oh, you're so much, you love to write? Have you read Little Women? You're like Joe, And that was just, an automatic thing that you get told when you're a kid who likes to write, and especially a girl who likes to write. And I think that might be part of...
Because there's only one book that's ever been written about a woman or a girl who likes to write.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that might be part of my also internalized sexism of just wanting to reject this thing that I was told prescriptively you will like, and it is for you.
Yeah.
But I will say, now that I've seen the 1949 version, I'm like, yeah, I am Joe, and I love Joe, and all hail Joe forever.
Well, it'd be weird if we all didn't like Joe. I mean, who are you going to identify with, Meg?
And
I
yet
mean,
at this, Meg.
Why, is that where they got it from Family Guy?
I would rather, I mean, it's better than being an Amy. Let me just put that out there.
That's an interesting thing. Like, we should rank our, like, the sisters in order of how, like, we identify with them.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Identify.
It's sort of similar to how I think about the Golden Girls.
Can we say respect?
Respect
As opposed
or
to
like
admire?
or identify. Well, you know, whatever. Like, I mean, I think...
Because I want to just come out there and say I respect Amy's single-mindedness, and I'm not for a second gonna feel bad about that.
I wanted Amy to drown in that like frozen water, so hard. Yeah.
I will say this about 94 though. Kirsten Dunst as a child actor is really good.
Oh, she's great.
Like, you're reminded of how good she
yeah.
was as a child.
When she played the vampire. And
Yeah, she was great in that too. No, Kirsten Dunst, though, in general, almost always a flawless actor. Like, she's great. But I feel like we have to rank them separately for each version of the movie because that, like, my rankings differ a little bit each version. So, but first, for anybody who doesn't know, let's just give us a little catch up of 1949 versus 1994.
Well, why don't you just go right back to, just in case there are other people who are fighting against this, just to the novel.
Oh yeah, well that's true. It's the 150. So
yeah,
it's the 150th anniversary of the publication of Little Women this year. The classic Louisa May Alcott novel that was published in the late 60s.
1860s.
1860s. Jesus, the late 60s.
Those are like they're hippies or something in Manson murders.
Fun times, guys. Can you imagine?
Or maybe you're super old.
I'm super old.
The late 60s.
The late 60s for me is 1860s, guys. That's just the way it is. So, would you each like to synopsis your respective film?
They're not that different, are they? They're pretty.
I think they're completely different.
Oh,
but
that
whatever.
is just
fine.
That's hyperbole,
Fine,
and you should
fine.
identify that, Joe, the writer.
I would. Joe was into hyperbole.
Yes.
Okay, so fine. The 1949 version includes Mervyn LeRoy.
It's
directed by Mervyn LeRoy, starring June Allison, Elizabeth Taylor, Janet Leigh, and Peter Lawford. The 1994 version, directed by Gillian Armstrong, Winona Ryder, Claire Danes, Kirsten Dunst, and Christian Bale. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
No, except for the fact that, like, for whatever reason, these films present Amy as drastically different ages in each film.
Yeah, and
which really freaks me out.
And then we have two different characters, two different actors playing Amy in the 1994 version.
Yes.
Yeah.
Samantha
Mortimer.
Mathis.
Oh, Mathis. Sorry,
Thank you,
Samantha
God.
Mathis.
Samantha Mathis, like, takes over from Kirsten Dunst because... so I was so concerned. Can I just... Okay, I guess I'm just going to jump on this right away. But, like, when I was watching the 94 version, which, again, I had never seen. So I watched the 94 version first, and then I watched the 49 version. So I'm watching this movie, and I did not know that Laurie ends up with Amy. But we get
spoilers.
To this... So, yeah.
From an 1860 novel.
Yeah. If you need spoilers in this. Anyway, the 94 film. So it's Kirsten Dunst. She's going away. Laurie is, like... comforting her on this, like, she has to go away because Beth has the scarlet fever. And her big worry, gross, is, what if I die before I'm kissed? Anyway, so he says, I promise you that if you get scarlet fever, I will kiss you before you die. Which apparently is the great come-on of the 1860s. Because then, fast forward 4 years later, after Joe has been like, no, thanks, I don't want your love, please put your penis elsewhere. I'm paraphrasing, by the way.
I do not think penises were even discussed in any of these movies.
I'm just saying, they have a passionate kiss in 1994, and, in the 94 version. Anyway... and she rejects him, and he goes off to become a drunk, because apparently that's the only thing you can do when Joe has, like, rejected you. And then, like, the love of Amy redeems him somehow, even though he says to her, his great come-on part 2 to her is, I should be a March. I've always belonged in your family.
I feel like it, but to be fair, I feel like that was clearer in the 49 version. Because Joe says to him, this was the way it always should have been. It was always meant to be this way.
But it's so much nicer in the 49 version when Amy is not 11. You know what I mean? Like, it's so gross. Like, that she is so much younger than them. Like, in this 4-year gap, like, when Kirsten Dunst is playing her, she's, like, 12, and then suddenly 4 years goes by, and Samantha Mathis is playing her, and she's 16, and she's going to settle down with this sad sack Lori.
You can die of scarlet fever at 10. Things are accelerated
I guess.
in the 1860s.
I was just, like, so grossed out by the 94 version, and then we get to and then I got to the 49 version, and I'm like, oh, this is better because Amy's older than Beth, and it's a little bit more, like, it's less gross. But then Andrea Gin told me
the order.
But you told me that in the book, like, Amy's, like, actually she is the child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, see, gross.
But this is 1860.
I know.
I don't know. You can't read this book or watch the movie with the thoughts you have.
I mean, I can. That's
you
what I
can,
do.
but I mean,
that's what I bring to
older men married younger women. They had money. They were established. That's all women had. That's all you had.
I know.
Full stop. If you didn't marry well.
It's super gross.
In fact, to me.
But Joe rejected that.
Well, but that's...
She has an actual brain.
Wow, okay.
Amy is, like, the worst. Sorry, I just was so... I was
I don't
so
think you
mad
came
at
to
Amy.
this with the right spirit. I think you came at these stories with a far too modern sensibility to get them.
I mean, I don't want to let you guys in on a secret, but I am a modern woman.
No, I know, but it's just that there's something about being able to. It's like watching a Viking documentary when they don't get in a car. I mean, I don't.
No, it's not quite like that. We're given, like, this character of Joe who is, like, wildly progressive and interesting, and Amy is this sort of, like, vacuous twit. Who her chief, like, her sort of chief defining characteristic is that she's sort of, like, is an early, like, Mrs.
But that's why
Malaprop.
Joe is such a distinct character. There's so few people like that. I think that's really unfair of you. Women had... She was a writer. She was going to be a published writer. She was good at something.
Yeah.
The rest of everyone else, the only thing you had was getting married. Did you not watch enough Jane Austen? That's all you have.
Yeah, I also
getting
didn't watch
married.
much Jane Austen.
Okay, well, and I've read Jane Austen. There we go.
Well then.
But that's all you had as
I
a
guess
woman.
Meg just gets to be, like, at least sort of, I mean, she has a vague identity. Like, she's not a complete and utter twit. Beth gets to be, like, you know, like, just a human angel. And Amy just, and that's why I liked her characterization better in the 1949 version. I find the 1994 version of her character quite lacking.
Yeah, I just remember really finding that one, because I saw the 1994 version first. And I just remember the thing that stuck out for me the most and actually made me cry in the theater, after, of course, Beth's death, which made me heave crying. But anyway, was when...
We have to talk about Claire Danes'...
Oh, we will. We will.
Cry face
Yes.
separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something, hey? Oh, that wan look. But when Winona... So Jo is in New York, and she's met all these intellectuals, and this man says to her, you should have been... a scientist, and then it's the way that she delivers this line with such resignation. It broke my heart when she said, I should have been a great many things.
Yeah.
And I was, that line still, I'll just, like, watch that scene just to remind me of what that must have been like, to know that you did not have any opportunities.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why I think the book is so, or, like, the idea of the book is so interesting, like, because I haven't read it.
So that's why I'm not going to be mad at any of these women for wanting to marry, and I'm certainly not going to be mad at Amy for figuring out that this was the way you're going to have a life that she wanted to live.
Well, I think that was part of the book when Louisa May Alcott, like, the reason that it became so popular, like, it was an instant bestseller. It's never gone out of print in 150 years. And it's because she's offering this alternative idea in Joe for what your life can be. You don't have to get married. Like, spinsters are fine.
Yeah, to a certain degree, because she does marry.
Yeah, and that's controversial at the end.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Because
although I'd marry Gabriel Byrne now, but anyway. Digress.
But yeah, she talks, because, a lot of and I have to admit, when I read it as a child, I was disappointed that Joe doesn't marry Lori in the book, and that's the feedback that Louisa May Alcott got from all of the readers when they first read the book, is that they're unhappy about that. So that's why she, like, part 2, she kind of tacks on this, like, she goes to New York, meets an older professor, and then they get married, because it was just, like, the culture of the time was that they felt like Jo needed to.
She had to be like
Yeah.
sort of like her wild ways tamed a tiny bit.
I felt, well, yeah, and I mean, just to cut her a bit of slack, I did get the feeling that she was trying to say to Laurie, I don't love you, and I consider love to be important. And she fell in love with the professor because he was smart and challenged her. And Laurie seemed nice. I mean, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like
beyond that, he really loved her, and that wasn't enough for her. And I didn't feel as completely duped.
He just didn't take her seriously. Like, he didn't take her writing seriously. He sort of...
When he laughed at her in the earlier, you got $1? Like, I'm
That's the
rich.
thing.
And,
Yeah,
you know,
like he doesn't sort of like... And for him, intellectual pursuits are not where it's at.
No, which is why he was way better off with Amy.
Look, I'm not going to disagree that they found each other, and that's great. I just really did not like the character of Amy at all, and that's why I wanted Kirsten Dunst's character to just drown in. I thought that was where the dead sister was coming in. I knew there was a dead sister, and I was like, "Damn it, where's this dead? Why is she not dead?"
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, I was not pleased with that.
She's
character.
not my favorite, but
She
I
burned
definitely...
Joe's manuscript, which is another change. It was like
I know that they did the 94 version, like they did a pretty dramatic adaptation of the book to make
But the limes,
to make
that's
it appeal,
really in the book, which is weird.
to make it appeal to 90s sensibilities. Like they talk about how the March family is like boycotting Chinese silk because of they're opposed to child labor practices.
Yeah. It's
That
very
was-
90s.
But was
Yeah,
that a
like,
way
I
to
don't-
kind of like illustrate to like a being progressive? Was that...
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, but that was
Yeah.
like done in order to, because like, you know, that was something that would play well with 90s audiences to show them that people were progressive. But, you know, like I don't know that people did that in 1860.
I
I
don't
can't.
know.
I mean, I can't imagine many.
No.
It felt like it was Susan Sarandon looking at the script
Yeah.
and being like, "Hey, we need to make people politically aware of like, even though like she's become like useless as a progressive in like contemporary times." But
I will say most of, I really, after seeing the 1949 version, I definitely like June Allison's.
her Jo is so great.
Much better.
Yeah.
A lot better.
Well, I think it's for me too. Like I like Winona Ryder as an actor.
Yeah.
Like I loved lots of her movies,
Yeah.
like Reality Bites, Girl Interrupted.
Yeah.
I love her in Stranger Things, but I hate her in period pieces. Like I don't think she can do accents of any kind.
oh, she gives up on this accent real fast.
Was there an accent?
She was supposed to have like that slightly mannered like, "Oh, mother," you know, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, she loses that real fast.
And I feel like she really brings like a contemporary day woman's like anxieties to whatever role she's playing.
Like Stranger Things or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the way she kind of articulates her character is always like through this lens of being a modern person. I feel.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean,
yeah.
when June Allison's was just, it felt like a real person.
Yeah.
And I felt like Winona Ryder's, and I guess maybe that's a little unfair, maybe because she's had to see a million versions of this, and I guess I don't know, right?
Maybe
like
she
all of a
might-
sudden you've seen, you know, like so many versions of a like when I was like looking online, there was like Sybil Shepherd played Jo in a TV version in the 70s. I mean, there are a lot of real bad takes on this out there. I mean, we're talking about two at least semi-good ones, or one really good one, right? But I mean...
Well, apparently 2 came out this year that were really bad. Like, 1 took it out of the Civil War context and put it in modern day.
Yeah, which is dumb. I don't understand that.
Like, Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter
Yes.
starred in a movie remake, which on PBS, which I read a lot of bad reviews about, so I didn't bother watching.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. And so, I mean, it's quite possible that she just had, saw too many and tried to make a Katharine Hepburn, June Allison, and just failed.
But like the script is so, I feel like the 1949 script is actually pretty good. Like, I mean, the movie is long.
Yeah, it's very
It's
long.
over 2 hours. It's 2 hours and like 1 minute or something.
Yeah.
So it's long. But the 94 version adds all these things that like it's as if the screenwriter was like, well, if we don't make it more contemporary and give it all of these like plot twists, how are we going to keep people interested? They don't trust the characters at all in the 94 version. Whereas I feel like the 49 version, like Jo is just distinctly Jo from the first minute we meet her.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to leap the fence. She fails. She gets up and tries again.
Yeah.
Like, that is a lot of good character work without having to make it about dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we get like these really great characters throughout most of the film. Like, not everyone is developed to the same extent. Like Margaret O'Brien, they're still just depending on her to cry well.
Yeah.
Which, she does.
I liked
fine.
Christian Bale better than Peter Lawford, though.
Yeah.
Really?
Peter Lawford's kind of a nothing.
He's kind of dull.
I
flat.
agree. But
Yeah.
I just find Christian Bale very creepy.
Oh, he's so creepy. I don't like Christian Bale as Laurie.
No, I didn't mean.
Yeah.
I meant more like I thought he was just a more interesting character. Like I got a sense from that Laurie was just a really sad, depressing man. That was he was sad because his family's dead. He has nothing. He sees
could
this.
have been more interesting though. Like, that's the thing. He's an orphan.
No, he's like rich. He doesn't have to be.
No, but he's an orphan. He left school. He went and signed up to fight.
Yeah.
His grandfather has yanked him out. There's all of this character work that's like there with like the grandfather, but they just don't. They just like Peter Lawford cannot make Laurie interesting, even though there's stuff there that he could work with.
Well, that's interesting because I remember at one point after you watched the '94 version, you were like, "Why is Laurie such a horrible character? Like, what he's ingratiating himself in this family and blah blah blah." And I'm like, I don't have that sense at all from the 49 version because like he is just, to me, like not even really an important character in the book. He's like an interloper in the family who comes and goes. And it's really the story about Jo and her sisters. And that's not the 94 version.
No, the 94 version tries to make it a romance. Like will they or won't they?
Like a love triangle.
Yeah, a love triangle. And I think that does such a disservice. And that's what I mean about like keeping it about like the relationship between four sisters. That's a real, like, I like that. That's like kind of, that's a nice
But there was
beat,
something, but there was something about, and I didn't read the book, but there was something about the 49 version which felt like it kept jumping over things, like something got edited out. It was like all of a sudden the way she was with Laurie, and I felt like we missed a whole bunch of where they got to know each other. Suddenly it was all, we're going to the ball. It was really quick. Like he had just, I felt like there wasn't a lot of moments whereas I felt like the other one, there had to have been more moments because he was a very important character. When she met him at the end, in the 49 version up in the attic, there was a lot of love there. There was like, and he was worried to tell her and she was worried. I felt like they could have spent a bit more time on that relationship, which seemed really important to that family because of the piano and the I will escort you. And and there was a sadness to him and his grandfather that the March family, gave them some spirit.
Well, I think it's supposed to be like, yeah, they're rich, but they have nothing because they don't have love. And like the Marches have nothing, but they have love.
Yeah.
And I get that. Like, I guess just because I'm so much less interested in the romantic entanglements of like, I want more time with the sisters and seeing them, just seeing how they work and how they fight and how they like respond with each other. Like, but
See, again, for me, I kind of, when I first came across those characters, I feel like, this might be a huge stretch, but for me, it felt kind of like Laurie was us. Like you're the outsider.
Oh, okay.
And you wish you could be part. And he said that so many times, and I felt like I'd ache when he would say it, that he wished he could be a part of that. Like,
I think Christian Bale's delivery, though, is so angry often.
Yeah.
That's what separates me. Like, that's why I think I was making notes. I'm like, this guy's an effing creep. Like, I was like, my notes to myself.
I just got a sense of a tremendous
I don't
sadness.
find him appealing as a character in the 94 version. And I also find Winona Ryder, her depiction of the character, to make Jo kind of like unlikable. And because she's kind of mean to her sisters.
I think Joan Allison was pretty unlikable, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I don't know.
She was just,
like, she's spunky.
I liked
like,
all of that, but she she didn't care. She's like, Survivor, I'm not here to make friends. She really wasn't.
Really? I didn't get that sense from
I loved
June
that
Allison.
about her.
Oh, I didn't get it from June Allison's portrayal, but like
when she was at the ball, at the dance, she could care. Like nobody mattered.
She was respecting like that her family wanted her to stay seated.
She was
because
so
burned
angry
the
that
butt
Meg
out of her
might
dress.
marry, and I thought that was extremely weird.
Oh no, I got that because like she just doesn't. She's just not good with change. And so at the end, when she says to him,
"Yes,
we have to change.
We're adults now."
That's the thing.
And
She's
that
grown
I thought
up,
was,
like,
but that's what made me think that Laurie was really important.
Well, I think he
like
is,
she
I
saw
think he
him
is really important to her.
She treated him in a way that wasn't probably as kind as she now realizes. Like she said, in losing Beth, she learned I should love more. I should respect the love that's in my life more. And I was, they were very insulated, right? And they got a chance to be, and they didn't have to like look out. And then she had to go and find and meet the professor and meet other people to realize that. Unfortunately, like even little Beth says, right? Says, I knew I would never be like all of you leaving.
Yeah.
This would only be me here.
Yeah, that's a fatalistic weird thing, wasn't it? Like, did you find that? I found that a little. Though again, the Beth characterization is
when I read
touch dramatic on both fronts.
in Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
In Gone with the Wind.
I've never read Gone with the Wind either. By the way,
the little child they have.
Okay.
Dies, and in.
We're just blowing classics left, right, and center, people. I love it.
And in Uncle Tom's Cabin, there's a child.
Okay.
And and dies. And I asked, my professor when I was at UBC, I'm like, why did she die? And he said, well, they used to write these characters that were too good for the world.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yes.
They represented that sort of, and they were just put in books like that.
Yeah.
And it didn't give them a lot, but they were just meant to die.
Yeah.
And you were supposed to like, oh, you're right. They can't deal with, the winds of change or whatever, right? So
I was grateful that the 49 version at least gave us some actual information about the Beth grandfather relationship, because in the 94 version, suddenly he's just like, I should have given you a piano. I saw you coveting it for so long, and I was like, they've never met. What? Like, why are they skipping these beats? Why has the screenwriter? So was this movie 4 hours long, and they decided to edit it all
because Claire Danes' acting probably was 4 hours long.
Oh my god! Okay, so can we talk about Claire Danes' acting?
She really made me cry.
And I get it. Like
she did.
I get it. Like Claire
she can
Danes,
make a sad face like nobody. Come on.
This is a lot. Like this, I felt like I was getting wet from the way her tears were just like flinging off her face in the scene chewing. It was not
is the
an
kid
affecting
the same
role
kid
for me.
as the other Christmas movie you made me
yes,
watch last year?
It is Margaret O'Brien. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a good crier. I will say she's a good crier.
But when she was laying on the couch with the wool, that was very Claire Danes.
It is, but Claire Danes'
I see God, Mummy. I see God. I'm going toward him. That's what she was.
Yeah, I think Claire Danes did that with her face, though.
Yeah.
There was no slow motion crying.
You
face.
hate Claire Danes, right?
I don't hate Claire Danes.
Oh, okay.
I was a big fan of My So-Called Life.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. But yeah, her cry face is a lot in this film.
Yeah,
Did you not watch her in Homeland? That's all she did.
I never watched Homeland.
Oh, I watched Homeland.
I never watched Homeland, yeah.
So I'm used to this face.
You're like,
I'm on many seasons of Homeland.
I've made my peace with this face.
Yes.
It was just, it felt bigger than the rest of the film. Like, like
her dying?
Just like what she's like, she's walking around in this, and I'm like, how old is she supposed to be? I have no clue. How old is she supposed to be though? I don't understand. Like what's her?
I think she's supposed to be 12.
She's supposed to be 12?
I think so.
Oh my god.
12 or 13.
What? I have so many questions about the casting process. Were they just like, look, Claire Danes is big right now.
Yeah,
it's 1994. Yeah. No, wait, My So-Called Life was 1995. So she hadn't even happened yet. Right? Like I'm pretty sure.
I didn't care. She was just one of the sisters. Like it was fine.
It was just such a weird, like they got Winona Ryder. That was great. They got
I don't know who Meg was. She looked like the younger version of Andy McDowell.
Yeah,
or something.
Meg is just sort of like whatever.
Yeah.
They got Susan Sarandon, and then they managed to get like Gabriel Byrne, and they got that young Christian Bale. Yeah. They're like that kid from Newsies. But that'll work.
I feel like Gabriel Byrne was too old.
Too old
The
for
professor's
Joe.
only supposed to be like 40.
That's I'm sure how old Gabriel Byrne was.
Is he supposed to be 40?
Yeah,
well,
he's much older.
Well, but Joe's only like 22, right?
Yeah.
So that already felt too old. I
got the sense in both movies that whoever this guy was, he'd seen some stuff. Right? Like that was, right? Wasn't that the housekeeper said he's.
But I kind of had the
because he's like, I was in Vienna, I was in Rome, I was in Rouen.
I had the Bram Stoker, Gary Oldman sort of like kept like kind of like, I was like, that's That's that dynamic. It's gross. And he's so old and she's so young. And why does Hollywood keep doing this to us? What is wrong?
But that was the
times.
I don't like that was the way the book was written, right? It's from what I understand, he was supposed to be older. And someone told me in the book she calls him the bear because he's much bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think when you're like when you're younger and you're reading the book, of course you're pulling for Laurie because it's more he's the same age as her, and like that kind of thing. And you find the professor kind of an off-putting character, but when you watch the movies as an older adult, it's sort of becomes like like Laurie's super boring and not a good match. Like I can see how this other guy is a little bit more interesting, and it didn't make me as angry as it had previously. But of course, I would have preferred Jo to just become a spinster and be proud of it.
And open up her like little schoolhouse or whatever it is that she does. Maybe the bear dies later in one of the other books.
Well, he's so old. He is
so
die,
old.
right?
He'll just die.
In 1860, how long did people live?
I mean, the bear seemed to be
People
up there.
lived a long time. Like, that's one of the things. Like, if you were poor, like the whole Hubble family there, you're dying quick.
Hubble family.
Was that what they were called?
The Marches, aren't they?
No, the one they took care of. She got the scarlet fever
I'm
from.
sorry.
They gave their Christmas breakfast
yes,
to. Weren't they
yes.
the Hubbles? The Hummels?
Yeah, I think so.
Hummels?
Hummels?
Because I kept thinking Hummel because of those little statues.
The Hummels. Yeah.
The Hummels. And so they were dying because you were poor.
Yeah.
Right? But if you had money, you could probably be like that aunt.
Oh, yeah, that spinster aunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, is that what you wanted for Jo?
Yeah.
But minus the cruelty with money,
she didn't
right?
have to be, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I would have preferred Jo not to marry Laurie, but if she was so in love with the professor, in both versions.
Yeah.
I'm not going to begrudge her happiness if that's who she loves.
Yeah, I feel like they could have sort of not had to get married. Like they could have.
Well, we don't know if they get married. They just meet outside in the rain.
No, but I'm assuming you've read the other books.
Yeah,
Beyond Little Women.
They do get
married. But they could have just lived in complete rejection of 1860s times, refused to get married, lived out of wedlock, and sparked a early sexual revolution.
Wow. I look forward to your next novel and the fan fiction. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel as upset. I thought there was a sort of symmetry of the fact that we saw her reject Laurie for such a good reason, and that she was willing to be on her own. Like she was going to be fine with that.
Yeah, I love that.
In fact, she came home and left him there, and just sent him her novel and was writing letters. She wasn't trying to get back to him.
No.
But then when he came to see her, and he wasn't even expecting to. He didn't. The way that in both of them, it was a good, to me, it didn't feel forced. It just felt like he was willing to leave. He wasn't trying to own her, and she went away from him too. Like the way they came together in the rain just seemed really lovely.
They chose each other, as it were.
Yeah. I didn't feel as, I would have felt really angry if she married Laurie.
Oh my God.
But if you read the book when you were 12, you would probably be like, why doesn't she marry Laurie?
Is there a fan
sure.
fiction community for people who Jo marries Laurie instead? Is that, do you think that exists?
Why would no one?
Tumblr?
If you
I think when I was doing research for this, someone has written a blog about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
But if you really sincerely like Jo, you would
you
not
want
want her
for
with
her
Laurie.
than Laurie. My God, yeah.
Oh my God, she would kill him. He would kill her for sure.
For sure, yeah.
That would what would happen. He would murder her.
Yeah, it would be really grim.
Because she wanted to go writing, and he wanted her to, I don't know, do something not writing, obviously.
But see, Christian, the 94 version, he does seem murdery, capable of murder.
Oh, that's because his character's a prequel to American Psycho.
Oh, there we go.
So Laurie,
but
fast forwards 100 years,
Laurie,
time travel.
49 Laurie does not seem murdery.
No,
he's
49
dull,
Laurie
though.
is so dull. I mean, honestly, I forgot he was there.
Please do something.
Plus, he kept tripping when he ran. He was just a real nightmare.
I liked the tripping because I was like, oh, he has a character detail. At least he's klutzy.
Yeah, it was,
which is great
because
he seemed to be chasing her in order to jump on her.
I don't know what that chasing was about.
Well, I think it's meant to be it's supposed to stand in for because he wants to kiss her. He goes to reach for her, and she's just like, nope, I'm out of here, and tosses him over and goes running, and then he's trying to catch her. And it's not like she slows down because, she does not want to be caught. She's just like, no, you are like a brother to me. This is not a sexual attraction. I'm going to run as fast as humanly possible. And then, like, literally stops him with a gate, which is, I thought, a nice touch.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, this is my side of the fence and your side of the fence. You stay there.
I think what, for me, just the difference is I really love the look of the 94 version. It's got a cozy brown tone.
It's what? It is the most drab, depressing.
Oh, I felt so cozy in their little
like,
house.
oh, they're permanently
I loved it.
damp.
Well, and then I thought that the 49 one, it was fine, but it just was so bright.
Technicolor.
Yeah, it was.
How can you not feel good when you see Technicolor? It's like
The
Wizard
Technicolor
of
doesn't look right.
Oz.
It doesn't.
Wizard of Oz. You love Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, but I like when it's in Kansas in the black and white.
You're the first person in history to say that.
who wishes.
Like, oh, yeah.
No.
I wish they'd never invented Technicolor.
But that made sense. Oz wasn't a real place. Oz was like a magical place, so the colors should be like that. Whereas this one here, the 49, just looked, it was overlit.
I just feel like the Technicolor makes it feel like it's nostalgic, and it makes it feel like a holiday film to me. And the 94 one just feels so depressing and hand-wringing and sad, and
Because it was the Civil War. It was depressing. It was sad.
With
they had no money.
With
they
that
were poor.
90s edge.
Everybody was dying. It was depressing. I don't know. It felt
And Susan Sarandon just really preachy, and Winona Ryder is
fair but firm.
doing
I
her
that.
like kind of reality bites take on Joe. Claire Danes' face is just frozen in like this like perpetual horror.
I don't think
like
they're
when
that
she's
different.
holding
I
the
don't honestly- I
almost
think-
dying baby outside the door. Like her face is just like already, it's as if the baby has died in her arms.
That
'cause
Margaret
her face
O'Brien
is
pretty
just-
much played the part the exact same way. It was a lot of gazing off and that
Yeah, at least she
annoying.
looks like a child.
But at least, but that annoying
Yeah, and
sort
then
of.
there's the weird
I will
child
go and
continuity
say thank
problem.
you. I don't know.
Christian Bale's super creepy. Like there's.
I think you're
so-
purposely trying to find a ridiculous number of differences when it's not that much different.
I will say, as someone fresh to the whole experience, I thought they were vastly different films.
There's the same story. How can you say
Well,
that?
it's,
No, no,
it's an echo
Joe's-
of a story.
Joe's amazing in one movie and she's not in
Well,
the other
it's
movie.
not that different. It's not.
All right, so we like to leave our episodes on the basic ridiculous question, I think, at this point, of
Does Little Women pop?
does Little Women pop? So, I mean, I think it does. I prefer the 49 version to the 94 version. That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, I think watch both of them. I mean, I'm not going to champion saying 94 is a fantastic movie or anything like that. I mean, for me to watch Little Women, I just thought it was enjoyable. I liked it, and I liked the other one. I guess I just it's just that different style of filmmaking from different eras that I felt like the 49 one was just sometimes a bit overdone. That part.
Are we going to revisit this when Greta Gerwig's version
Yes.
comes out?
Absolutely.
Yes. And what is she doing?
Saoirse Ronan.
She's making the most modern white version of Little Women you can humanly make, I think. Is
Well,
what
she can't. Well, add. What does she want her to do?
No, I'm just saying. Like,
have
it's,
like adopted family or something.
I would watch that.
I don't know if that's.
I mean,
Is
I
it
think
set in the Civil War? Is it
I have
like
no
that, or is it
idea.
modernized?
I just know Meryl Streep is in it, so it's
Is she Marmee?
I'm sure
Yeah,
she's
she
Marmee.
is.
Oh,
for
she is.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But obviously I think the 49 version pops, and like I watched the 94 version again. Like I watched it once at some point in the 90s, and I hated it. And I watched it again like yesterday, and it just made me want to take a baseball bat and smash my TV.
Wow, I do not.
That was big hate.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
excited to read. I want to read the book now, though. I'm going to read Little Women. It's going to be my 2019, first thing I do in 2019, read Little Women. Because I like celebrating 151st birthdays for books. That's my favorite thing.
That's a good. Well, she wrote the sequels. You can always read those.
Maybe.
More Little
We'll
Women,
see.
or what are they called? Lots More Little Women.
The sequel?
Yeah.
I think there's a sequel called Good Wives, which is what causes controversy.
Oh, that does sound
all right,
terrible.
Yeah.
We love to leave our episodes on something we recommend. So Lisa, would you like to go first?
Sure, and I know we'll be covering this off at another point, but Dumplin' came out, and I watched it the day it came out.
I'm so excited for it, and I haven't watched it yet.
Netflix, based on a young adult novel.
Yeah.
And there's Dolly Parton songs. there's a beauty pageant, and there's Jennifer Aniston and Dumplin, and just a Willa Dean, actually, which is super fun to say with a southern accent.
Yeah.
It's just, and drag queens, and
So much.
transformations, and makeovers, and love, and kisses, and small town America, where they don't look like Trump voters, but who knows? But yeah, it's really great.
We should
That's
do it
awesome.
for the podcast.
Yes.
Oh, we
Oh,
definitely,
yeah.
we
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
have to do it for the
Yeah.
podcast. No, for sure. Andrea Gin, would you like to go next for a recommendation?
Sure. Well, since I haven't done recommendations all year, I'm going to just do my favorite album from this year.
Yeah.
It's Mitski, Be the Cowboy.
Yeah.
I've been listening to it nonstop ever since it came out, and it's amazing. And I went to see her live show, so I would recommend that too. If anybody out there, if she's coming to your town, go see her, because her live show is incredible. She's not really playing a guitar in this show. She's got she had a choreographer choreograph like a show where she dances and stuff, and so
Cool.
it's amazing.
Oh, but I really like, that's one of the things I really liked about the album was all the guitar.
Well, she plays on like a few songs, but
Okay,
it's mostly
yeah.
like she's a singer on this tour.
Yeah, okay.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And her record was on a bunch of year-end lists, so that's good. I'm recommending an article, actually. The cover story for Exclaim features Jeremy Dutcher, and the actual written piece is amazing by an artist that I interviewed earlier this year named Melody McIver. Melody uses they and them pronouns, and their piece is they're friends with Jeremy. They also interview Snotty Nose Res Kids, who are also fantastic. And the title of the piece is Art is Our Language Inside the Indigenous Renaissance with Jeremy Dutcher and Snotty Nose Res Kids. And it's a beautiful piece. And, you know, having the person profile like their friend from within their community and to talk about making, you know, Indigenous music in this Indigenous Renaissance, it's a really beautiful, beautiful piece. So thank you to Exclaim and Melody for that.
Oh, we covered off the 3 different mediums.
We have 3
there.
different mediums,
Yes,
too.
we did,
Good work.
yes.
Good work, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea Gin, for being our guest.
Yeah,
Well, thanks
that was
for
a lot
letting
of
me
fun.
be on in front of the mic today.
I love
Three
it.
not so little women here. And there we have the name of the podcast.
The name of the podcast
episode.
now, going forward. You could hang out with us on iTunes, Stitcher. You could stream us on Spotify. No, wait. You could rate and review us on iTunes and Stitcher and then stream us on Spotify. But you could hang out with us on other forms of social media like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Are we thanking Joe for our producing?
Thank you, Joe. Well, yeah, that's up to you. That's like your call. 'Cause
Yeah,
you normally
well,
thank
well,
Andrea Gin. So
Well, I usually thank Andrea Gin, who I'm still going to thank.
Yeah, sure.
Andrea Gin
I'll take it.
is our producer.
Yes.
And do
Also
you
our
want
guest
to
today.
say your thank you then?
Oh, yeah. Thank you to my husband, Joe, for being behind the window today and, you know, recording us.
Yeah, if he did not record us, though, no thanks, Joe.
It could, yeah, this whole thing. Yeah, we haven't really looked on to see if it worked out or not.
I'm
Fingers
sure it
crossed.
did, yeah.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.